welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Pauper at the request of Patreon subscriber Wombat Ferrari, and this is what he's calling Sligh. There's always some potential controversy when you talk about old school deck names and what exactly that means, but basically the idea behind this deck is that there is red deck wins, which has lots of creatures in it. There is burn that has lots of spells in it, and Sligh exists somewhere in the middle, where it has more creatures than burn does, and more burn than red deck wins does, and you try to get the best of both worlds. In Pauper, that translates to Madness Burn versus Traditional Burn, where Madness Burn sets up a large board. They bank a bunch of resources in cards in hand, ability to discard, sneaky snackers in the graveyard, gutter snipes in play, and they could 20 you all out of nowhere from a single turn. This deck doesn't do that, but it does have Kessig Flame Breather and Thermo Alchemist doing a little bit of that work. And then there's the more traditional burn deck, which is still a Bushwhacker deck that tries to go wide with creatures. And we've got Clockwork Percussionist, Goblin Tomb Raider, Voldaren Epicure. There are still one-drop creatures that do damage in this deck. And the goal is, if your opponent sees some of this sort of thing and thinks you're one type of deck, then you can surprise grind them out with the other half of the deck. Or just, it's more than they can really manage. We've also got the world's fairest experimental synthesizer in here. There is no way to bounce this, no way to recur this. It is simply, at some point, we will need more cards, and it's an artifact that turns on your Galvanic Blast and your Tomb Raider. But this is basically a 5-mana 2/2 that draws 2 cards, and I'm into that. Reckless Impulse, just fair and square, red card advantage, keep the cards flowing at the point where that becomes important. Wombat Ferrari has been working really hard on this deck, tuning it. He recently, I believe, made the finals of a large Pauper event attached to the RC in Houston, Texas. He was out there grinding Pauper and Legacy side events. It's been a long time since I just played red, mono red anything in almost any format, I guess, unless you count like Painter Servant or Red Stompy in Legacy, but creatures in burn deal 20. Long time since I did that. Let's do it. This is Wombat Ferrari Sligh. I am going to keep my hand on the draw here. Let's do it. This has Epicure into Great Furnace, which gives me a hasty... Oh, it's an artifact. Wow. I always thought Goblin Tomb Raider was 2 artifacts, but never mind. I'm just going in here. Good chance this thing just gets burned off because we appear to be in some sort of pseudo mirror. But I'll get some damage going if we're not. Okay, cycling Monstrous Carabid. This is not a mirror. Cycling Draenus Stinger. Okay, so we're against some sort of Cycle Storm deck. Perhaps even Cycle Storm. Some sort of nothing. The actual thing. Okay, Voldaren Epicure gives me an extra artifact that gets me closer to turning on these Galvanic Blasts. I could also loot away a Lava Dart. I think I'd rather not do that right away, though. Opponent missed their land drop on 4 cycles, and it looks like it's happening again. I'm just bolting to the face. Make them dead is my job here. Drawing an artifact would be insane. Hell yeah. GG. Alright, cook ya. And finish you off. Pew pew. Pew pew. Hell yeah. The red experience. Your opponent stumbles a little bit and they die. Relic of Progenitus coming in here. Searing Blaze. They do have some creatures in their deck that are kind of important, but I have lots of removal. I could probably live with 1 less Lava Dart. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully we just do that again. This is the old turn 3 Goldfish. I don't know what card I was thinking of, but the entire time I was assessing this deck and talking about this deck and doing the deck tech, I thought the Tomb Raider needed 2 artifacts to be hasty, but yeah, that one's just on the house, isn't it? Okay, I will keep my hand. What a crazy card. Just Goblin Guide with upside. Strictly better Goblin Guide in Pauper. Opponent's on a Malta 6. They know I'm red, so they might not goof around this time. Okay, the haste damage from Percussionist That can kick in anytime. I think I'd like to Epicure first. This gets me the same amount of damage. They both deal 1 on the turn they're played. This one invests a blood token. Does that matter? I'm not sure, but I mean, Galvanic Blast is on here. That's the important part. Opponent's missing land drops again. I'm just going to Chain Lightning their face while that one's on the house to do, and then I can save these instants to light them up over the top if I need to. Found a land and passed. Mountain, attack for 2. I can spend all of my mana without Reckless Impulsing, so I'm just going to pass here. Cycle to Drannith Healer. Cycle to Drannith Stinger. Okay. Dark Ritual. Alright, we might be game on here. This blood token is a little awkward because I want to in-play to Galvanic Blast them, but I also could have used the blood token to try to spike Relic of Progenitus last turn in my main phase. I guess if I find Relic, then Gal Blast is on, but if I find nothing, then nothing's on. So, maybe not. I'd cycle to Healer, cycle to Baron Moore. They're looking for Songs of the Damned here. Street Wraith, going to 10. Risky, risky. A Cabal Ritual got Threshold. Monstrous Carabrid, 4 mana left. Storm is 2. It's the 2 rituals. I don't want to start casting spells until I'm sure they're done because their deck is built around Reaping the Graves, which is a storm spell. I don't want to give them extra cards on my own spells. Currently 1 damage short of killing them, assuming they whiff and pass the turn, which we're still not sure if that's what's going to happen here, but if that does happen, I'm still 1 damage shy of killing them. Rowan's Grim Search. Right, cast with Bargain. If this was Bargain, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put up to 2 of them back on top of your library in any order, rest into your graveyard, and then you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. Okay, so they're at 8. I am 1 damage short of killing them right now, and they are dead if they pass the turn. I have 1 more YOLO swing. There is 1 copy of Fire Blast in my deck that I could hit. All right, Songs of the Damned. Storm is 5. Cycling a Drannith Singer after Songs of the Damned is interesting. A Storm is 9. There is a Straight Wraith in the graveyard. If they use that, they're dead. All right, there is the Reap. Here comes back 8 creatures. And there are 9 creatures in the graveyard, so they're going to return at least 1 Street Wraith. And then it's, do they have the bravery to use it? A Stinger, Carabid, Stinger, Healer, Dinosaur, Street Wraith, and Healer. They could play one of these healers off of a Lotus Petal, which would make it kind of hard for me to win. I'd cycle the Dinosaur, Carabid, and they got a lot they can do before that Street Wraith matters. But boy, does it matter if we get there. Stinger, Carabid, Petal. Alright, that can play 2 healers, and then it's really hard for me to win. Yikes. Alright. I think I'm gonna Galvanic Blast them in response, and then filter my blood. And this has to be Fire Blast. Bummer. Alright. We probably lose now. Okay, I'm gonna let them gain life. Because what else can I do at this point? Alright, they cycled the second healer. Alright, 1 damage short on the draw. Hard to feel too bad about that. I know I can bolt this healer if I want to, but I don't really want to. I'd rather bolt a Stinger that might help them actually win the game later. Rowan's Grim Search, sacrificing their land. This will put them back to 5. And it is possible to whiff. It's unlikely, but it is possible. Alright, Songs of the Damned. Do they have another Reap? They do indeed. Alright. I don't need to keep watching this. I've seen enough. I'm happy. I mean, I'm unhappy, but... Game 3. This deck cannot get landfall on my opponent's turn, which is when I would want Searing Blaze. They do have a bunch of artifact lands in the deck. Maybe I should be smashing to smithereens. Lava Dart awkward, because in that game in particular, I was exactly 1 damage away from winning, but I don't know that that is actually something I should be leaning into. Am I going to have time to Reckless Impulse? I guess is a question. Okay, I have just added variance to my deck by reducing card draw and adding something that may or may not have a target. But they do seem to be playing lots of artifact lands. Alright, Percussionist. Bonk, 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 bonk. Swamp. And pass to me. I'll attack for 1, and then play Kessig Flame Breather. Hope I'm not dead. I got that steady creature damage this game. Cycle Carabid. Street Wraith, hell yeah. Free shock, free shock. Free shock alert. Another free shock alert. Doesn't matter if I'm dead, but we'll take it. Cycle Carabid. And they found Baron Moor. They might have had Baron Moor and were looking for a better land. I'm going to Reckless Impulse first, because this is more looks at Relic. 2 Smash to Smithereens. Alright, embarrassing. I'll Chain Lightning you. Hey, currently no targets for those, but at least I don't have to draw them. Yeah, Smash deals 3 to the artifact's controller, which means smashing Percussionist for value is not really somewhere I want to be in my life. Okay, they had Songs of the Damned for 5. Let's hope this is a desperate spin and they don't have it. Dark Ritual. Bad news. If they're ritualing, it means they have more to do. Hopefully it's just more cycling and they miss. Blood Celebrant. Pay 1 life, add a mana of any color. Okay. Reaping the Graves with Drannith Healer. Bad news, team. Okay, they picked up and then immediately cycled Street Wraith, so they're at 5. There's another Street Wraith in hand. Going to 3. Yeah, this is interesting. Like, what does this mean? Why are they cycling over top of their cyclers? They could have put 2 healers in hand, cast them both, and then started cycling and gaining a bunch of life. They must either already have it, or they're not interested in passing the turn at all, and they're just trying to make it happen right now. I guess if you cycle into Cabal Ritual before you pick up all the creatures, that gives you Threshold in the middle of the pile, so that's a reason to do that sequencing. I'm not super familiar with Cycle Storm, despite it being the signature deck of my podcast co-host. I know vaguely what it does, but these little optimizations of cycling in the middle of your Storm stack, I'm learning those on the fly. They cycled Stinger. There is another Drannith Healer still in their hand. Not anymore, okay. Oh, they are trying to win. Cycled Baron Moor, 2 mana left. Vault of Whispers. Cycled Horror of the Broken Lands. So that Vault is going to kill them if they don't win this turn, because of Smash to Smithereens. 1 mana left. They need a Ritual right now. Lotus Petal. And Ritual. Okay, they did have mana left over. Okay, this game, because I have Lethal Showing, I am not going to concede unless they actually kill me. Ooh, Repository Scab. When this exploits a creature, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. So that gets Reap. And they had Songs. Wow, okay. Well, they're going. I will concede when my life total reaches 0. Go nuts, opponent. Is this an infinite loop? Like, Scab can exploit itself, getting back Reap. No, they need Reap and Songs. Yeah, Scab's good for either one, whichever one you need. This looks relatively deterministic, but I'll generally let my opponent mess up if I think that's possible. I see Street Wraiths and Blood Celebrants and ways that they can lose life to themselves here. Okay, they did cycle Street Wraith, which means they can't make white mana off of Blood Celebrant anymore, or red to get a Stinger or a healer into play. That's interesting and exciting. So what, they need a Lotus Petal to win the game now, and I think they can near deterministically draw their deck. So there's still Lotus Petals in there. Fascinating stuff. This is not how I would have played this game, though I don't know how to play Cycle Storm, so I'm not saying anything is wrong with this line. But my opponent could have had 2 Drannith Healers in play and just like 30, 40 life or whatever right now. But maybe they can't win the game if they pass burning off all their Storm, even if they're at 40. Like, can their 2/2s beat my 1/3 that's in play already? I don't actually know. Okay, well, their mana pool is empty. There's Lotus Petal. That's the one that they needed. That 1 is so different than 2 life here. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. I think my opponent could have done these stacks differently in a safer way. It looks like they were on full send from the jump when there's multiple sources of tons of life just face up in the graveyard. All right, cool. Glad I didn't concede. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm going to play in round 2. I will keep my hand. My opponent said in the chat they're 4-0 and offered the split, but my league just started, so we're going to thug it out here. In for 2. All right. Mountain Pass. All right, get the dummies in. Whipping tons of damage. Yep, Lightning Bolt. Opponent on defense. They could be some like Jund deck or Izzet deck. Not necessarily Burn Mirror. Now it is. Okay. Oh, Sneaky Snacker is back. Discard, immediately replace Sneaky Snacker. Good stuff. How do I want to do this? If Reckless Impulse hits a land, that's the best outcome. All right, I'll start there. Hell yeah, we did it all. Play Voldaren Epicure. Just trying to find all the card advantage I can, wherever it comes from. Guess a Flame Breather. No attack with Snacker. Oh my goodness. We love a Lava Dart. Alright, well, Synthesizer is use it or lose it, so I will use it. Hit an Epicure. I can play that this turn. That's not a pass the turn one, unfortunately. I'm going to Chain Lightning Flame Breather while they don't have red to send that back at me. And I'm going to attack first. I don't actually care if they trade with any of these things off Sneaky Snacker. That's not worth a Lava Dart to me. Especially the one that I can replace immediately. Okay, cool. That was a pretty good turn. I grab the prize, double snacking. They do come back tapped. Epicure, that can block. Okay. I can just attack and see what they do. They probably trade Epicures. When and how do I want to use Lava Dart? Is my question. Alright, I'm going to attack with everybody. The opponent goes to 8. I think I actually just want to synthesize here. Make a 2-2. Maybe draw a card. Thermo Alchemist is going to burn off, unfortunately. But a 2-2 is pretty good on this board. They are the more combo-y side of the deck than I am. And there's Gutter Snipe. That's one of the guys who can do a lot with a little. That's why I've held Lightning Bolt this long. Faithless Looting. Okay. With no mana floating, I'm not that worried about this, I don't think. They could discard 2 Lava Darts and then... Yeah, I should have bolted Gutter Snipe here. Okay, they did not discard any Lava Darts. Epicure is in. Ooh, getting bold with those snackers. End step, bolt your Gutter Snipe. Okay, now I have a 2-2. Lava Dart clears out this whole board. 2-2 Vigilance ruling the battlefield. The opponent is at 6. Epicure puts you to 5. And I can dart these 2 snackers if I need to. This is going to be a tight battle. I'm not going to go to 4, that's for sure. Dart a snacker, dart the other snacker. Okay, opponent's dead on board. Highway Robbery, this brings back the snackers. But they are tapped. Sacking a land to do that. Sacking a land on this thing is so free. Because there's so many variants of that card at this point. You may discard a card if you do draw 2 cards. Sacking a land is so sick, which means this is a good top deck even when you're Hellbent. Discarded Fire Blast, that's probably good news for me, because that's one of the cards that could have helped them here. Oh, alright, I think they're dead. One of us is dead. They probably have a bolt for my 2-2, and then my bolt finishes them off. Alright, a tight battle that I won basically because I was on the play. And they do use their graveyard quite a bit. Searing Blaze, awesome. And the Festivities does kill a bunch of snackers and stuff. I don't think I really have room for that. Lava Dart had a heroic moment there. I do think this card is, like, imminently cuttable, though, in most matchups. Not Elves. I mean, if they have Well-Wisher in their deck, don't cut your Lava Darts. Synthesizer had a moment, but I think this matchup's going to be a little faster than that. Like, it's my job to kill them, because they have a better late game than I do. Yeah, I think Reckless Impulse is where I want to be more than Synthesizer. I just don't have enough cuts, so I'll leave one in. Would I rather have one Synthesizer or 1 Dart? Probably 1 Dart. Okay, I'm going to try it like this. It's hard to maximize for Searing Blaze in a deck with 18 lands in it, and none of them are fetch lands. But you gotta try to balance out where you can. Alright, I will keep this. Tomb Raider won't be hasty until turn 2 off of the blood token. Alright, Epicure is all around. One for me as well. I could have played my 1/2 on defense, but I'm happy to trade this 1/1 for their 1/1 or for any spell they might play. Yeah, block. It would be great if they tap out for like Flame Breather or something this turn. Oh no, they're on the Mono Epicure strat. All right, I'm going to play a land, play Tomb Raider. I'm going to attack. If they double block, I guess I'll take the double trade. Okay, do I think Tomb Raider is better than Galv Blast? Galv Blast is a long way away from being active, so, I mean, this isn't pretty, but if my game plan is chip shot damage with creatures while controlling their engines with my burn spells, this play makes sense. Blood, discarding Sneaky Snacker, which guarantees Sneaky Snacker. I had to discard a Gutter Snipe to get it, though. Reckless Impulse. All right, I'm in. Hey, land and haste creature. Straight up 2 mana, draw 2. Bang. Searing Blaze, oh no, my own tech. As if the card Searing Blaze is a great secret, owned entirely by me. I'm going to Blood pre-combat. Okay, Thermo Alchemist I like. Attack for 1. Alchemist, a 0/3, doesn't fly despite looking like it's shooting in the air. And I'll pass. This Galv Blast only does 2, and it's likely to only deal 2 for a very long time. So holding back Chain Lightning, I think, makes sense. I could have sent Chain Lightning upstairs while they couldn't send it back. Yeah, I really don't want to kill this thing, unfortunately. I might have to starting next turn, but if I get some juice off the Alchemist when that happens, that's better for me. Double Flame Breather, okay. I'm going to attack with Clockwork Percussionist. We'll start there. I hope they block. They should not, but I hope they do. They wisely didn't block. All right, 1 to my opponent. Chain Lightning, a Flame Breather. One time in an actual Legacy tournament, I had someone cast Chain Lightning against me in the mid-game when they had like 5 lands, and they just have 5 lands and they're like 9 to you. And I had to inform them that's not what their card does. Okay, I will play this Mountain and pass. I don't really want to double bolt Flame Breather. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I can block Flame Breather with Alchemist. I take 2. I don't have to, though. They've already drawn 1 extra card this turn, though. Actually, I am gonna blast this thing. Talked myself into it. Fiery Temper in response. Okay. Alright, my Alchemist dies. We both spent burn on each other's creatures that turn, which is pretty nice. Okay, attack with Percussionist. I hope they block. Still not interested. Still probably correct. As the best case scenario, if Percussionist is attacking you in this spot, is I just need to cycle a card. And the worst case scenario is your creature dies because I have a shock in my hand. Okay, attack with both. All right, Flame Breather blocking Flame Breather is great. That still does what I wanted it to, which is kill their creature. They get to keep the better creature, but I did get an exchange there. We're both kind of flooding out. I just gotta hope that it stays that way. Oh no. What's happening in combat? Searing Blaze with a land drop. Oh no, I'm so dead. And they have the red to send it back. So I'm pretty dead here. Chain Lightning betraying me. Alright, I have to leave back Percussionist as a blocker because I'm dead no matter what. Can't play the removal spell in my hand. I need them to just draw like 3 lands in a row. Alright, they don't want to give me a Percussionist flip. Oh, baby. That's almost good. Okay, all I can do is roll the dice. I can't attack with Percussionist because I'm dead on the backswing. I'm dead to any spell, dead to any creature, dead to any, basically anything. Alright, GG. Game 3 with me on the play. Yeah, my opponent successfully hit me with 2 Searing Blazes that game, and I hit them successfully with 0, which was the entire difference. They had 1 creature and more life than me at the very end. Yeah, I'm not changing anything here. Let's go. I will keep this hand. I've got the Blaze. Even though it cost me the game, or at least, I mean, I was at 2, I was probably losing that game anyway, but even though it cost me the game in some way, I actually really like that the flavor text of Chain Lightning came up there back when we were a country, and sometimes cards had drawbacks. And I'm going to attack with Epicure, and playing my land there gives up on the Searing Blaze, or at least makes it harder, but I have to develop Flame Breather. If they blaze me back here, at least they're not on board. Yeah, okay. There's that one. Reckless Impulse. That could help hit a land. Or I could just play Flame Breather right now. Yeah, I'm doing that. 3 mana over there. Highway Robbery. Discarding Fiery Temper, which in a lot of ways is discarding nothing. All right, multiple Blazes. I'm going to Impulse here. All right, cool. I get to hit my land drop without looking suspicious. I can play these cards until the end of my next turn. And I'm actually going to Chain Lightning the Dome right now while I can. I have a lot of burn, especially removal for creatures in my hand. Like, if I had only hit 1 land there, I would have to think about whether I was going to hold back. Oh my god, you're so fucked! 1 landfall on 2 guys? Searing Blaze, you and this. Also, you and this. Oh, that feels good. That was pretty messed up. I have opponent dead here. I have exactly 6 damage. Obviously, they have cards in hand and stuff to do. I have to Tomb Raider first, because this blood token is what's giving it haste. Attack with both. I'd love just a trade. Okay. Block there. Fire blasting my creature. Interesting. And I'm going to blood token in response, see if I find something better to do. All right, I take 2 there. My creature dies. I'll bolt the Gutter Snipe. And I guess I'll play out this Relic, although it's not very sexy right now. Okay. My opponent has more cards than me. We are in the dregs of this mono red mirror. I have more life. They did just dump a Snacker, but they've drawn 3 cards already this turn. It can't trigger. All right, flashing back looting. So Relic is going to snag a Snacker. All right, exile all graveyards, draw a card. All right, bad floods. Opponent's at 5, but I am out of gas here. Oh no, not a 2-2. I can't beat that. Searing Blaze. Lightning Bolt. Bolt that. I think the Bolt is worth it, even though their life total's low, because where are they going to take 2 damage otherwise? Do I want to trust my top deck versus collapse their engine? And I would like to collapse their engine. Fiery Temper. Good chance this targets the Epicure. Hell yeah. Okay. Ugly, scrappy battle. We both have 1 card in hand, but they have a Faithless Looting in the graveyard. Flame Breather. I'll put it in. It has combat words. It has 1 power. Sandbagging it till I have a spell could cost me damage in the long run. Faithless Looting on the flashback. Ah, they hit another Temper. Okay. All right, deck. Good cards, good cards. It's not a bad card. I'll pass. That's half their life total. Me being at 15 versus their 4, where it's much more likely for 2 burn spells to finish them off than it is for me. All right, Thermo Alchemist. This is lethal next turn. And it gains me 3 life if they remove it. Oh, they sandbagged a land. Yeah, that was a good play. Percussionist. Donk, 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 donk. This is one that you don't want to kill, but you also can't let him play. Lava Dart. Flip something good. Galv Blast. All right, blast you. I don't think they can gain life. GG's, winning the matches where I was on the play. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I am on the play in round 3. I'm going to keep my hand. I have the Miser's Searing Blaze, the 1 main deck Searing Blaze. Wombat Ferrari and I talked about that quite a bit. And I hope my opponent is a creature deck. And I hope they play a creature right now. Island. May or may not be a creature deck. That's not actually information. That's a creature, though. Attack with Epicure. Hope I don't get Force Spiked. But if this Flame Breather resolves versus basically any blue deck, that's going to be worth a ton of damage. We're in. Mental Note in the end step. So we're against some sort of blue or Dimir Tolarian Terror strategy, which is not necessarily a good look for Searing Blaze. But if they have some Augur of Bolus or some shit, I got you. All right, Thought Scour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells in the graveyard. Thermo Alchemist. Okay, I am going to attack for 2, and I am going to play the land. Searing Blaze is just going to have to accept its role of mediocrity in this matchup, because these redundant pingers are what I'm actually trying to do. I might even blood token away the Searing Blaze. Delver of Secrets. So they did have at least one target. This does seem to be mono blue. And Delver is actually a good card. That's worth blazing. Now I have to weigh mana efficiency versus damage output, because I could just bolt in the end step, but that bolt deals 4 instead of 5. I can get an extra damage off it if I wait a turn. And I think I have enough mana to do everything I want to do. Depends on what they do here. If they stick some giant creature, that might affect the clock. Team Inferior. All right, that puts it second from the top or on the bottom. I'm going to put it on the bottom. I don't want to see that again. Not on this timetable. Tolarian Terror is in. Okay. Now I am going to just push damage upstairs. Opponent's at 12. Great Furnace. Okay, I can Searing Blaze. It does 3. Like, I can pay the ward. Yeah, I think just getting anything for my money here is worth it. I need 4 damage in a spot where I'm otherwise doing 0. And then the interesting texture will be, can this Tolarian Terror afford to attack? Right, cycling Lorien to clear the Brainstorm cards. Played the island they tutored for. This one is going to come down to how far we can go to the head. They haven't been showing Counterspell yet this game. If they play a second Terror with 2 mana still up, that's a precarious position. All right, 1 mana up is a very different conversation. And this is lethal through a Spell Pierce. Let's get it. Hydroblast should not be in the main deck. Dispel. Well, fuck me. That one's allowed to be in the main deck. Okay, opponent's at 3. And I'll pass the turn. I'm all in. But they have untapped with 11 power in play. Ooh, attack with both sucks. That means they have another creature. Delver. That blocks a little bit. Big draws, something good. A blood token, turn my mountain into Lava Dart. Alright, we lose. GG's. A tight one. Down to the clutch Dispel. Okay, Pyroblasts, I like. Relic of Progenitus could slow down some of their stuff, but not some of their other stuff. Cryptic Serpent, I think, checks outside the game too. I'm just going to remind myself what all these cards do. Oh no, they do both count the graveyard, not the graveyard or exile. Some do one, some do the other. Okay, Searing Blaze I'm into. I like the grindy stuff. Lava Dart's an interesting one. It hits Delver, and it is a bunch of spell triggers that are easy to get on the stack when my game plan is largely going to be creature-centric. I don't think I want Fire Blast. Yeah, I think I want Pyroblast in here, and I just want to get low with cards that are reliably going to deal damage. Because I'm bringing in a bunch of cards that don't deal damage, whether reliably or otherwise. Is Synthesizer too slow for this matchup? This is a thing that I'm going to be thinking about a lot, because there's not a ton of artifacts in the deck either. Galvanic Blast is kind of on the edge of where you'd want it to be. I could also just not bring in relics and use Pyroblast to counter their bigos on the way down, or to win counter wars. All right, on the play, I am not going to overboard. I'll reconsider these relics on the draw. Ooh, this is slower than I want, but I will keep it. It does have a Flame Breather and some card advantage in it. And I don't think I'm just going to go face with Chain Lightning on turn 1. They've shown me Delver of Secrets, which is not a card I want to have to navigate if I don't have to. Island Pass. Hydroblast is live now. That's just going to be part of the game. Flame Breather is in. That doesn't mean it's not dead, but it is in. Right, Thought Scour dumped a Delver in a land. That's great, because that means the Thought Scour didn't actually advance their game plan at all. There's Delver. We identified that guy as a possibility. Okay, do I want to Impulse into a counter spell? Could also just attack. Right, I am going to Impulse. Delver's not the one I'm super scared of. And if I hit a land here, that's just way better. Envelop, hell yeah, counter target sorcery. Game on, gamer. All right, here's a different sorcery. Chain Lightning, kill your Delver. And attack for 1. Envelop is a nice one. I don't think I own foil envelops in real life. If this is getting played in Pauper, I need to invest. Brainstorm will make 3 spells in the graveyard for the creatures that care about that. Blue showing. Are there any famous Magic cards that care about that mana value? Okay, I'm gonna at least play around Spell Pierce. I can still cast my whole hand with the mana I have. Yeah, if they have Counterspell, this doesn't matter. If they have Hydroblast, it doesn't matter. I think I want to sit on these bolts. Letting them untap sucks, but also them stabilizing at 8 life because I fired off 2 bolts that don't matter also sucks. My lad. Okay. Alright, I'm in trouble. I can double bolt that, but that doesn't feel like a winning game plan either. Oh, baby. The synthesizer, the grind plan kicking in. Is it time? Alright, there's a mountain. I guess I will just get paid immediately. Hope to hit a 1-drop here. At a second mountain. That's fine. Didn't want that second mountain anyway. The old 5 mana draw card. Block plus Bolt does clear the Serpent, but your hand with all these spells in it, I'm not a believer. Looking for some Pyroblasts here. There's one. Okay, well, destroy target permanent if it's blue. Pay the ward. Lose to every counterspell. Bummer. Alright, well, now I have to bolt the Serpent because I am just going to die. Alright, heads up. 5-5 versus 2-2. No blocks. Ooh. Attack with my 2-2. I'm going to Pyroblast in their upkeep, where if they counterspell, at least it costs them mana to do it. Destroy target, permanent if it's blue. Sad. Okay. That was the Miracle Pyroblast. I don't think this game is going to be successful from here. But if I get some Percussionists, that could be some stuff that, chump, go plus a card. Might be able to wiggle my way out. I am dead to the next hit from anything, though. Mountain, shit. I'm going to sandbag this mountain in case I draw a blood token next turn. Gotta chump, or else I lose. Assuming I even get a chance to chump if they don't bounce my creature before then. Thought Scour, milled a Serpent and a Terror. Get him out. Okay, big blocks. Okay, I need a series of chump blocks or a Pyroblast that actually resolves from here. Oh, now I just lose. I guess I have Reckless Impulse that could hit 2 blockers, or a removal spell and a blocker. Alright, that's not it. GG. Yeah, that matchup feels really tough. They have bigger creatures than me. They have counter spells. They board in a pile of Hydroblasts. Tough one. If I had a real Pauper tournament to play, like for real stakes, I think I would be on this deck. On my opponent's deck. This mono blue deck just seems so good. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the play in round 4 with my first really questionable loose keep here. This is not what you want to be doing with the deck. We're not the type of deck that can just play Synthesizer on turn 2 and then pick it up and go nuts with it later. I'm going to keep for science, though I think at the Pauper Pro Tour I would have mulliganed this. I pass. Definitely not playing Synthesizer on 1. It literally can't do anything. 3 is the turn you really want to cast it. Okay, a mountain, they tap mana, then change their mind. Oh, yeah. Alright, I found something to do. Zoom, zoom. Good chance this guy eats a bolt, but I've done something. Cool, alright. Would have been better last turn, but we take it. It is some sort of red mirror. And I have made it to the phase of the game where I'd be happy to synthesize. Flame Breather. Well, I'm going to take a turn off to kill that, probably. I hope I draw something else to do with my mana. Oh. Oh. Just the best. Spend all of my mana, get some extra cheese on my taco. 1 to you. Opponent has 5 cards in their hand to my 3, but Synthesizer could be 3 cards. Okay, you're up. We're into the mid game, which is where my hand needed to be any good. So far, I've gotten good exchanges on everything. Ooh. Saza Caps Brew. Dumping a Sneaky Snacker. Tomb Raider. Okay, Experimental Synthesizer is a non-creature spell. It triggers Flame Breather. Come on, good cards. Another Flame Breather. Hook that to my veins. And just a little hasty guy from the hand as well. All right, we both seem to be kicking our engines into gear. They've done some madness stuff. I have 2 Flame Breathers and a Synth. This could be a crazy showdown on these final turns. Grab the Prize Dumping Mountain. That's kind of mid. It does fix their hand, but it's not, like, good. And another Grab the Prize Discarding Mountain. Okay. I get 1 turn to go nuts. I would very much like for my draw step plus Synthesizer to hit just, like, 2 1-mana spells. Thermo Alchemist. I'm going to Synth first. Ooh, a Patchwork. Let's get that in there. Tons of damages. Pew, 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 pew. Opponent's a 10. But they did just have a huge turn of sculpting their hand. Might be their turn to go nuts over there. Gutter Snipe. Faithless Looting. Discard 2 Lava Darts, kill me. My body is ready. Discarded 2 Kessig Flame Breathers, awesome. That's good news. That could have been a lot worse. Sneaky Snacker on defense. Come on, deck. Oh, Lightning Bolt, just some spell. A spell, Lava Dart. Percussionist, alright. Drum, 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 drum. Here comes everybody. They can double block a Flame Breather, then they take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a lot of damage. They could just trade off with my bigger stuff. All right, they went to 5. Alchemist, that can block Gutter Snipe in combat. They have a Faithless Looting in the graveyard, which will trigger Snipe and bring back Sneaky Snacker. I'm at 16. I grab the Prize discarding Sazakap's Brew. This triggers Snacker. I'm at 12. I could definitely lose here. Highway Robbery. I'm at 10. Should probably sack a land here, would be my guess. Yep. 5 cards in hand. 4 cards in hand and 2 mana. Faithless Looting, oh no, I'm at 8. Lava Dart, oh no! That's worth 3 by itself. Dart targeting me. 3 cards is plenty to... Any Lightning Bolt kills me here. Son of a biscuit. Yep. Yeah, coming down the stretch, their draw engine was better than my burn engine. Okay. Searing Blaze. Relic of Progenitus. We've done this before. Synthesizer was one of the things keeping me in that game, but that's also because I kept a pretty bad hand. Now that I know the matchup, I think I would rather have these other things. Alright, let's try it. I will keep this. This hand is similar but better than the one from last game. Like, I know what I'm up against now, where picking off Flame Breathers and Gutter Snipes actually matters. And then Reckless Impulse is a little bit more reliable card advantage than Synthesizer is, and it's cheaper. Opponent mulled to 6. Searing Blaze, cool. I could Impulse now. You do bank the cards until next turn, but that telegraphs everything I want to do to my opponent. I think with the Searing Blaze and what that card asks of you, I'm okay being a little patient here. All right, Impulse now. Land 1-drop, cool. All right, well, they know I have Galvanic Blast, and I'm going to donk them with it in their end step. Or kill whatever creature they play. Not that one. I'm going to Searing Blaze that one. End of turn. 2 upstairs. Okay, I could Impulse if I hit a land. That's great. I could also just Searing Blaze their creature. I'm going to Impulse. I can still Searing Blaze even if I, air quotes, miss. Or I could hit a Searing Blaze from exile. The nuts. Oh god, that's so lucky that I hit that. Right, they'll deal 1 to me on the way out with the Flame Breather. And this hitting the Synth off of the Reckless Impulse, now we're kind of going off. That's my version of casting 2 Grab the Prizes and a Faithless Looting in the same turn. Okay, no follow-up creature. Synth. And with this Great Furnace and this Epicure, now my Galv Blast is on. Hey, there's Galv Blast. Epicure. And this one is until end of turn, right? So I have to use it or lose it. Okay, passing the turn. Opponent's a 10. Nothing in a full turn cycle with 4 mana is scary. Just banking up the goods. Yeah, there's Gutter Snipe. I can kill that as needed. Tectonic Hazard deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. How much am I willing to take from Gutter Snipe? All right. I think 4 is a reasonable answer. Okay. I did end up taking 4 from Gutter Snipe. Could have been less, but instead I'll just win. 4 to you, 3 to you, untap, Searing Blaze. Nice. Okay, cool. That game, my engine kicked in while they spent a bunch of turns not spending any mana. Do you actually want Relic of Progenitus in this matchup? It doesn't deal any damage. It does hit the sneaky snackers. In some situations, it can make Lava Dart worse, but it never really stops Lava Dart. I could bring 2 synths back in and just ignore their graveyard. I think that's probably better. Unless I clip a sneaky snacker with this, I'm not really interested in having it. Okay, let's go. Card advantage back in. Suspicious sideboard card out. Okay, I like my hand. Keep. I don't like being on the draw. I do like that they mulled to 6. Mountain go. My first 1-drop of the match. Voldaren Epicure. I don't actually have a Bolt in my hand. Any version of any card that could kill a Flame Breather or a Gutter Snipe. Please just pass here. Oh, okay. They plotted Highway Robbery. That's fine. I accept. Attack for 1, invest my Flame Breather. Okay. Getting my Burn Fella down before they have a Burn Fella is pretty important because now they have to respond to this or react to it. Yeah, they just like Gutter Snipe, Highway Robbery. I take 2, then I bolt their guy, and this is not a big deal. Oh, the Sneaky Snacker is the best card they could discard here. Discarded Lava Dart. That's kind of whatever. I can do some extra damage off of the Snipe, but I mostly don't care. Okay. I could Impulse first, and as always, see if I hit the land. I am going to Impulse. And not only did I hit the land and the removal spell. Just live in the dream. Sometimes you're going to make a play in Magic the Gathering, and sometimes you make a different play that ends up being the same play while drawing 2 cards. Okay, they did value Lava Darting my face, so they're trying to go upstairs. They could have killed Epicure there, but went after me. That's a little scary. I have 5, 9, 10, 11 damage, 12 damage on the board right now. Or 14. Flame Breather and Lava Dart. Okay. I'm not that scared of these Lava Darts. I'm going to be honest. Oh, are you dead? 4, 8, 13. Looks pretty dead. Yeah, I have exactly enough burn here without even attacking. And my attack would be likely to get one through. It was nice of Fire Blast to show up eventually. It's only a 1-of, but it's one of those cards that if it ever shows up, it's going to show up big. I bolt you for another 4, and then Fire Blast you for Xaxes. Ooh, stressful stuff. These are red mirrors. I don't know if I'm built for this. Hell yeah. On to the next one, the final one. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive record is locked, playing for the bread and butter 4-1. Got nice little hand full of cards that see more cards. A swamp. A carrion feeder. Okay. Probably just going to Lava Dart that. It is never going to get better than this. Dart that guy. Sack it in response. Show me who's boss. Alright, they just let it die. Coward. Nested Shambler. And another Nested Shambler. Well, I'm glad I killed the carrion feeder, or this would have been horrific. It might still be horrific in the near future. This looks like the Mono Black Aristocrats deck I played on the channel a while back. Bona just said in the chat they never pegged me as a red mage. Well, I play with the Patreon subscribers send me. This is the job. I could be doing anything at any time. Yeah, if you see me at Eternal Weekend versus if you see me in the Magic Online queues, it's a very different calculus of what I might be doing. Okay, no attacks, no plays. 3 is the turn where you're happy to synth because all the cards in the deck cost 2 or less. Spiked a mountain, hell yeah. And I guess I will Impulse here. Bank those for next turn. Epicure Flame Breather. See you next turn, fellas. And I don't really want to trade off my Epicure with a creature that makes a different creature when it dies. Ooh. Peregrine Beckoner, Warp. When this enters until end of turn, another target creature gets +1/+1 and gains. When this dies, return to the battlefield. Jesus, well. If that dies, they get 3 squirrels, and it comes back, so I'm just going to take the damage. Oh, thank you. Okay, Voldaren Epicure from exile. Castic Flame Breather from exile. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had the joy of just straight up drawing 2 cards in a red deck, but I have. Now I have an interesting choice. I could Lava Dart this thing. They get a tapped squirrel. They take 3 this turn. Where do I think this damage is going to come from? I don't want to have to Lava Dart this twice, but it's also... Alright, Dart from hand. Both Lava Darts have shown up this game. If they have some scam spell that like pumps this and then brings it back, I have the other Dart. The squirrel does enter tapped, which lets me get through for 2. Gotta find her damage. The opponent's at 14. They have this Big O. Their next land plays this 4/5 from exile. Okay, do I want to dart this thing? Do I want to take 3? Do I want this mana? I think I can afford to take 3. That's fine. Can they afford to attack is the question. Okay, yes. All right, I'm at 14. I want more pingers in play before I start just chucking stuff around. Reckless Impulse. There's another Flame Breather. That is exactly what I was looking for. And I will pass the turn. We're just banking that final burn turn. Aristocrats versus Critical Mass Pinger Burn. If they find a removal spell, this gets a lot harder, but if they are just trying to do tricks with their silly little dopes, that is something I can overcome. Bloodthorn Vampire. Alright, sack a creature. This gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If they could give that trample or lifelink, that's really scary. Whenever you sack another permanent, put a +1 counter on this creature. Sure. Okay. They're all in. I am absolutely going to put a Voldaren Epicure underneath this thing. 4/5 creature. Epicure's done its job. Okay, Synthesizer will ping them for 2 on the cast. Flip a spell. A mountain. Sad. Yeah, I can afford to blood a mountain away here. Looking for a spell. Oh yeah. Flame Breather. Another one. Chain Lightning you. Take 6. Lava Dart, you take 5. Lava Dart, you take 5. Don't even need the second Lava Dart. Nice. Okay. That was kind of scary. And the festivities coming in. Searing Blaze. I mean, their deck's full of creatures. It's going to find targets. It might not kill those targets, or it might not kill them in a way that is effective or satisfying, but it will happen. Though, is this even how I want to play this matchup? Presumably, black has some way to gain life, like Unexpected Fangs, or something that when it dies you gain 2 life, and then a bunch of ways to sacrifice it on purpose. I think my Alchemists and Flame Breathers are the best cards in my deck right now. Maybe Searing Blaze doesn't actually make sense. I would be cutting other burn spells to bring that in. And other burn spells can go face more reliably. I definitely need these festivities ended, though. I do expect this game to get kind of grindy. Clockwork Percussion is not great when my opponent's deck is full of expendable 1/1s. Voldaren Epicure, they both contribute to my Metalcraft. Yeah, maybe I'll cut the Searing Blaze I had in already. The full swing from boarding in 3 more Searing Blazes to actually I'm going to cut the one I had. Goblin Tomb Raider is big enough to push into a board of 1/1s. Though on the draw, that card seems kind of mid and not really what I'm trying to do here. Okay, I talked myself into this. Do I want any Tomb Raiders, actually? Alright, I'm back in on Searing Blaze. This is the experimental process unfolding in front of your face as we figure out what I want to do in this matchup, what my role needs to be on the draw versus somebody who's likely to come up the board. Okay, love my hand. Snapkeep. I like that Dart can challenge like a turn 1 anything, and then end the festivities can get them later when they go wide. Yeah, Dart, this Mortician Beetle, while it's a 1/1, is insane. Alright, Lava Dart. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for showing up twice in the matchup where you're probably best. Bloodthorn Vampire. Okay, there's nothing to sacrifice to that at this time. That could change quickly, but I'm going to invest this Flame Breather, which might be ill-advised. I would understand anyone who wanted to just Galvanic Blast this thing and move forward. But a lot of their payoffs involve making a shitload of 1/1s. Yeah, when this creature dies, make a 1/1 insect. Okay. I'm trying to create as much texture as I can, because right now I can deal 1 to all things, or 2 to anything, or 3 to anything, and I can stack any 2 of those things on top of each other in whatever way best suits my interests. Supernatural Sense. Okay, so they're going for it. That's one of the scam cards. They're going to sack this. Bloodthorn Vampire gets bigger. They get a bug. This comes back. And this is the type of board that End the Festivities can catch me back up on. And depending on how hard they want to go here, a Tragic Slip, that's fine. It is, in fact, tragic, but I will learn to live without it. Okay, End the Festivities would kill... They would sack Insect Token. I could just Chain Lightning the Bloodthorn Vampire and see how deep they want to go on it. Yeah, I'm going to do that, actually. It'll cost them 2 creatures to save this thing. And then the rest of those things are susceptible to Festivities being ended. Okay, yeah, they just took the L on that one. Foldarin Epicure. And pass. 1 card in their hand, plus the one they just drew. Okay, this card's back. And another Sage. Okay. Flying Bug goes in. Alright, this is where End the Festivities really does its job. If I bolt Bloodthorn Vampire, they might try to save it this time. If I just End the Festivities, they can sack the bug for free, then these die into other things. Okay, I'm going to bolt Bloodthorn. This requires 2 sacrifices to protect it. And they're out of cards. If I can navigate this tricky, various-sized board state, then we're in good shape. What I want to happen here is them to sacrifice all the infestation stages. Hell yeah, we got it. Festivities. Yeah, this contains the go wide aspect of the board, and they could just have like a million until end of turn, and then I pass, and they have a 1/1 in play versus my 1/1. All right, pass the turn. Oh yeah, the 4th infestation stage, or was that only 3? They keep coming back, so it's hard to tell. I'm going to force the issue here. The less they have to sacrifice, the better off I am, and that 1/1 is not really helping me otherwise. A Reckless Impulse, or I could just bank this Percussionist. I'm going to Impulse. Mountain and Percussionist. I can play the Synthesizer next turn. And Percussionist banks the card until the end of next turn as well. Yeah, I too would just attack with the bug. Village Rites, drawing some cards. Ested Shambler. That one could go crazy. A Synthesizer. Time to grind back in here. Hit another synth. Well, this one's use it or lose it, so I will use it. There's not a lot of whiffs in the deck here. All right. Drum, 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 drum. And do I want to attack with one of these now that I have 2? I kind of do. All right, I chipped a damage in. I can block and throw 4 at something, which is kind of a lot. Another Bloodthorn Vampire. I will block anything that attacks here, including that thing. Okay. I'll block the Vampire. Hey, I could bolt right now, and that means this thing will die no matter what. Yeah, I actually like this. I'm going to bolt this. Now they have to use their other Vampire. They actually can't, because it'll just be 3. All right, yeah, it just dies. Cool. Lightning Bolt killing 2 creatures. Pretty sweet. I think I'm ahead here. Like, pretty confident that I'm ahead, though. I don't want to bet against this deck. That could surprise me. A Flame Breather. Getting one of those in, pretty sweet. Lava Dart this Bloodthorn Vampire right now. Right, sacking the Squirrel. Okay, they took 1 from that, and I could just kill this thing and punch in. I'm going to go for that, actually. Galv Blast. And I'm just going to start pushing damage. Okay, I'm ahead on life total, on cards in play. We have the same number of lands. Sacking that mountain to dart does make my synths worse for the rest of the game. Ooh, a lifelink creature. Shit. How do I ever beat that? All right, this is a 2/2 lifelink that flips into a 4/3 lifelink. Fire Blast. I don't think I want to do that. All right, I'm going to synth. I can still Fire Blast if I miss. This makes a 2/2 guaranteed, and hitting a land would be great, and I did hit the land. Roll those dice, get rewarded. All right, now I have a 2/2 to challenge their 2/2. Bloodthorn Vamp. When another creature dies, transform this. And this can sack itself. So I do have to think about this becoming a 4-3 mid-combat. They didn't want the smoke, though. Good call. Lightning Bolt's still too dangerous. I crack my other synth. I drew a land, which means I can play anything I would draw here, or anything I would flip into. I hit a Impulse, Thermo Alchemist, and land for next turn, and pass. The mono red control half of the deck doing the work. The story on this card is kind of gross. This farmer's beloved horse died, and then he had to eat it, and it made him go crazy. I've drawn Galvanic Blast, Great Furnace, Thermo Alchemist, and can my Samurais attack? I think they can. If this just trades with a 2/2 lifelink, that's great. If they block, sack Bloodthrow into itself, and then flip the Desperate Farmer, I have Galv Blast. That does appear to be what they're doing. All right, Galv Blast this Desperate Farmer. Opponent takes an extra 1. Okay. It would be very hard to lose this game. They would need some kind of sweeper. And something like Arms of Hadar would kill most of my board, but all right, yeah. They're tapping out. Nice. That is a 4-1 record, losing only to Mono Blue Delver, one of the best decks in the format, and one of our tougher matchups. Beat a couple of red mirrors, pseudo mirrors. Nobody's doing quite this build. We're living in the middle, where the red decks in the format are aggressive or combo-y, and we're just kind of moderately aggressive with a bunch of card advantage. I was actually really impressed by Reckless Impulse. There's a little bit of stress with Percussionist and Synthesizer where if your hit is bad or it happens too early, like you can't tap out for Experimental Synthesizer value mode and pass the turn if you have nothing else to do with your mana. But Reckless Impulse, I was comfortable and in many cases delighted to just bank 2 cards for next turn, tapping out entirely to do so. This is a cool take on the deck. It's full of cards that we've seen before. There's nothing groundbreaking. There's no secret technology. It's just kind of how you decide to envision how you're going to win your games and then building a deck that meets those goals. Wombat Ferrari. I had fun playing a red deck. I hate to admit it, but it happened. You did it. Thanks for submitting your deck. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.